that is one of the critical issues because we've looked at that. If I'm sending out notices to housing counseling agents that he's delinquent on his loan, I'm going to be sued in a New York minute. So what we do, and that is a good question, which is how do we get this coordination going? I know at the end of every collection call, there's a screen that pops up, and it provides, example in Ohio, it provides the CCRC HOPE number, and we also give the number for the HUD counseling line where you can call and find the agency in your area. We also loaded by zip code local counseling agencies, so this information pops up. What we don't have that we really could use is the ability to take the name, address, and phone number of where the borrower may have had pre-purchase counseling and have that pop so that we can refer the borrower specifically back to the agency that did the pre-purchase counseling, because that would give continuity.
And kind of security in the referral.
Yeah.
Without breaking confidentiality.
Yeah, and right now we don't have a way of getting that data into the servicing system.
Okay, when you're talking to the industry, maybe that's something you all can figure out as you go through the day and listen to the others. Here's another question from the audience. Is there somewhere or somewhere that an agency can require the basic servicing guidelines? You've asked us to make a reality check. How do we make the reality check if we don't know your servicing guidelines? Who wants to take that on?
I'll try to start with it. I think from a counseling perspective, I think the guidelines of every single servicer, every single mortgage product, every single investor, it's just a la carte up there to some extent. And so I think the counselor's job is to figure out the affordability of the house. Kind of like what Rick was saying, financially on the sheet and through the process of counseling, you understand the holistic problem, you look at the financials, you've done a thorough job, and you're looking at it going, if their mortgage payment is X, which is similar to what they already had or very close to what they had, then it's worth contacting the service. It's always worth contacting the service, but then for sure we're going to pursue to see what those guidelines and options are for that particular mortgage payment. I think where counselors get in the trap is trying to be an expert for every lender and every servicer and every mortgage product and say, oh yeah, they'll definitely do that, or I've seen that happen over here, and then they can really get over it.
I would agree, and I think there's certain remedies that are universal in the default process. The modification, the forbearance, the repayment, the short sale, the deed in lieu, and by training, by coming to the institute, the courses that they developed here is a great way for housing counselors to understand those basic remedies so that they can begin to initiate the contact with the servicer. But beyond that, to get the reg, I imagine there are volumes of regs that these people have to deal with and processes. And so I would say the servicing and understand the basics of how the process works, and then you'd be in a good position to make good recommendations to the servicer.
I'd like to reinforce something. Most of the servicers you deal with are servicing for others. They may have some loans in their own portfolio, but you have Freddie, Fannie, you have loans in Ginnie Mae pools, you have loans in securities. I can tell you, we have an area of 850 different investors who service them. Now, that said, I cannot roll off for you all the requirements for each investor, obviously, but I do know that there are commonalities between all of them, as Dean and Rick have said, and a lot of them will say in their contracts with us, service to Freddie or Fannie Mae guidelines. And that tells us that generically this is pretty much follow what the GSEs tell you to do, the government-sponsored entities.
You're going to get
it. And so that is the commonality in all of them, but trying to understand all the nuances of the requirements is really a tough job. And we have technology that helps us do that and guide us to the right decisions. But bottom line, if you can analyze the financial situation of the borrower, their commitment to keeping their home, and provide that kind of information, the plan is to find a workout that's going to result in successful homeownership retention.
Okay. Now, we've gotten the panel warmed up, we've got a whole stack of questions, we have very little time, so I'm going to ask for just one response, and if you disagree with what the person says, just raise your hand, let's see you at lunch. But we're going to ask one response to each question so we can get through some of these. Why not just take a proactive approach and refer all ARM mortgages to a list of counselors before they hit the reset and payment shop? The quick answer is we can't. We can't. Is that because of some regulations or securities regulations? Or privacy act. Privacy act. Okay. What percent of cases being seen by Dean and Rick are in foreclosure due to, and I know we're not going to talk about this a long time, predatory lending? What percentage?
The tricky part is defining what predatory is.
Yeah, so this is who we all know and we all agree. It's
I think it's a much lower percentage than a lot of people think, and it's more just riskier products that get people in trouble. If they were aware of at least some of the risks, and then life happens and how they can.
Now, I would agree. There are two programs. One is to determine what is predatory. The other is to help a family that is in the throes of foreclosure to get out of the foreclosure trap. So there are two separate hats there.
And make sure you know which balance.
Exactly.
all right? These two are kind of related. No, I got one coming for you. Now, what's the next step? This one says, what's the next step for a counselor who finds I can't imagine this, an uncooperative servicer on the phone, or is unable to reach the servicer on the phone? The next question says, what is the next step when your loan servicer refuses to tell you